a week after the festivities of the Tour de Endurance 24-25 qualifiers, the fans have piled back into the stadium to see the auto-qualified teams and the relegated teams compete in those 4 qualifying events in Tour de Endurance's very first friendly round. Hello everybody, of course, I am Angus with your co-commentator Ramen Powder for this first time event for Tour de Endurance.
So here in the friendly round here in 24-25, we have the auto-qualified teams and the relegated teams from Season 4 participating here. Basically all the teams that didn't get a chance to show what they can do in the qualifiers. And it's going to be separated into an auto-qualified friendly round and a relegated friendly round. And we'll see the Expedition team, Cherry Blossom, show how a balancing run goes. Of course, you all know how this works now. We've seen so many teams in the qualifiers do it. Some got some great distances in qualifiers, others not. And 318, that is about what you want to achieve. You want to be ahead of that 300 mark. And we'll see the auto-qualified teams from Season 4, the Greyscales, Marauders, Citrus Sprinters, and the Crazy Chickens kick things off here. The Greyscales, the hosts of the season, one of the best teams in Tour de Endurance. We'll see what they can do here. Nice formation out of the gate. And will they have any finishers? The Anchor Marble will get to the end.
That's a very good run by the Greyscales, the final host team Tour de Endurance will ever see. They do get one from the back all the way to the end, and in fact it's a 401 right out of the gate. A very consistent, spectacular run by the host team, already bettering every single team that we saw in the qualifiers. Marauders following that up from one of their biggest rivals is going to be a daunting task, and it's bumping. There's bumps out of the gate as they all swerve off to the far side, with one again getting to the end. It was a very similar run to the Greyscales, but those two that fell off all fell off before even I think one of the Greyscales did from the first round, so that's going to be comfortably beneath them. Yeah, a whole full 100 points, 295 for the Marauders at second place. Not a bad run per se, but nothing compared to the Greyscales, who look already like a dangerous host. Run 3, we're getting quickly through this friendly round. Citrus Sprinters, a shock run in Season 4 to get up into the friendly round here. They've gotten, it was a great push out of the gate, but it was poor after that. They just swerved up to the sides and they could not recover. That's going to be, I think, below both the first two.
Didn't really have contact out of the gate, but then the 3 in the front all drifted off to the near side, pretty much in tandem. And 274 just under the Marauders, they'll be in third place. Now the final runners of the auto-qualified teams, the Crazy Chickens, managed a miraculous third place overall last season. Ooh, nice formation out of the gate, but it does fall away from them a bit. 2 off to the far side, 2 off to the near side. Everyone reached the orange section though, so a fairly consistent run. Once again, everyone fell off at about the same part of the beam. And it was so consistent, that's good enough for second place, 318. Nowhere close to the Greyscales, but second to fourth, all very solid runs here in the auto-qualified friendly round in balancing. But the Greyscales laying down the gauntlet in just the very first run here in the friendly round. They will get 5 points, 3 to the Crazy Chickens, then it's 2 to the Marauders, and 1 to the Citrus Sprinters.
That's the first event for the auto-qualified down. They will sit aside and watch the B-League competitors that are already confirmed try it next, but well done to the Greyscales. Already a very, very strong... They already topped everyone from the qualifiers in just their first run of the Tour de Endurance Season 5 or 24-25 season. So that's very, very impressive. Now we look to the relegated teams from last season with the Silly Slimes, Flash Fires, Sweet and Sours, and the Woodsmen. Silly Slimes will go first. A complete team rework in the off-season, and it looks like did not work out here, or they're still figuring it out, I suppose. Captain Slippery has been promoted, and Slimeball demoted to reserve, while the other team positions shuffle around as well. And only 203 for the new look Silly Slimes. Not a great opener for the reshuffled team. What can the Flash Fires do? Of course, one of the new expansion teams from last season, relegated in their first early days, still getting relegated in their first season. This looks a bit better. They will get 1 all the way to the end. That's more like it from the Flash Fires. That should comfortably beat the Silly Slimes, but still not a very consistent effort.
Some contact among those first few marbles made one marble go off to the far side very early at 25 for that first marble. So very inconsistent, but the Anchor does salvage it, 183. And it's a decent run for the Flash Fires. Now, Sweet and Sours, hoping desperately for some good luck here in 24-25 upon 2 relegations back-to-back. Ooh, messy, a very messy entry onto the beam. Just completely shuffling. The back 2 just completely go in front, try to go around them, and that does not work out for them at all. But it was fairly consistent. They all still managed to get to the orange section, so it is still good enough for second place here. 209. The mark's clearly not as good as the auto-qualified teams, but we'll see what the Woodsmen can do in the final run of balancing here today.
The only team to not completely shuffle up their team order in the relegated friendly round here, and that looked like a pretty consistent run. They just got their one toward the orange section there and one pushing to the green. It's still not the most glamorous of runs, but it is good enough in this B-League friendly for second place. 242. This means the Flashfires and the Woodsmen, those two to come in last season as in the expansion, will get top 2 here over Sweet and Sours and Silly Slimes, who will miss the podium. But a good start. Even then, though, I think the Citrus Sprinters in the auto qualified would have gotten second place in this B-League. So you can just see the difference in experience throughout these two different leagues. But still, well done to the Flashfires. A team reshuffle with captaincy and reserves changing, clearly working out for that top team. We look to Downhill Drag next, which we're hearing from the stewards will not have an expedition pre-show. There will just be 2 straight races for the auto qualified and the relegated in the friendly rounds here.
So, in the qualifiers, in the downhill drag, we saw many teams struggle with the conditions, with the bumps here, and many teams, especially in Group B, couldn't even finish the course because of it. That really put a dent to their qualification hopes. Of course, here in the auto-qualified and the relegated friendlies, stakes aren't quite as high, but these teams do want to be able to finish the course. They do want to do as well as they can to get as much data going to the main season. There you can see our 4 marbles representing the teams here in the auto-qualified friendly, the Greyscales, Marauders, Citrus Sprinters, and the Crazy Chickens. The Greyscales with Scaly particularly, one of the standout members in the downhill drag. And off they go. Crazy Chickens get the best launch. Greyscales on the right side trying to get second place, but they go all the way back to last. Crazy Chickens will get the win here. And the Greyscales, I'm not sure anyone thought that they would get last in one of their star events here.
Perhaps swerving around trying to get, as Ramen said, data of the course, and there you see the battle for first place, at least in Season 4, right neck and neck across the line, and it is Citrus Sprinters Valencia just to get ahead of the captain of the Marauders by 4 thousandths of a second to get them second place in this event. But the Greyscales missing the podium is indeed a surprise, but it's a great run by the Crazy Chickens, and they now lead the friendly round on 8 points to Greyscales 6. Citrus Sprinters and the Marauders on 4 each, but we're only halfway through. There is still time to make a comeback in the friendly round, but well done to the Crazy Chickens for what was a very, very quick event, of course, in the friendly round. And now we look to what the B-League marbles can do with Flashfires, Silly Slimes, Woodsmen, and the Sweet and Sours. In another quick blast, of course, Woodsmen here, with the highest finisher in the B-League, they got 4th. Can they do it again with a good result? Let's see what Slime, Timber, Yogurt, and Flame can do.
And off they go. Silly Slimes from the left side get the best launch, but the Woodsmen in the middle looked like they might take the lead. And the Woodsmen, I think, got them at the line. That was very close between the Silly Slimes and the Woodsmen. The Woodsmen, this was their best event in the B-League last season, and they do seem to have some consistency in the downhill drag. They will come across the line in first. Silly Slimes drifting off to the right side. That was their undoing. They will get second place, but very fast time for Timber. 4.793. That would have been one of the fastest times in the qualifiers. And the Woodsmen, with 3 and 5, take the lead ahead of the Flashfire, Silly Slimes, and the Sweet and Sours.
In fact, across both leagues, it's the exact same lineup of points across both events. It is 8, 6, 4, and 4 with the same results, just from different respective teams. That is an interesting talking point as we move on to the Hoblander Pursuit. Now, this will be a bracket-style event, so each team will do 2 rounds of this, once against if the winner will lose with the other round, depending on how they go in their round. So it's going to be pretty simple. There will be a 3rd place round and a final after the heats for each of the auto-qualified and relegated teams. But first, of course, there will be a pre-show between these two teams, the Breakfast Doritos and the Royal Blues, simply because their competitive spirit has been enlightened recently, the Expedition teams. And let's see how they go. Breakfast Doritos got the better push from the gate, but it is also all the way up the end. The final handoff is so important. You cannot make any contact at the end. And Breakfast Doritos leave their 4th marble all by themselves, but still he gets hung up, and the Royal Blues come across to win the race.
This is arguably the most strategic of the events in the qualifiers and the friendly round. And you can really see it demonstrated in this demonstration with the Royal Blues just keeping it clean towards the end. That's really the key to success in the Hooblino Pursuit. The Breakfast Doritos all came undone in that final few legs. But there you can see the lineups for the Hooblino Pursuit, the auto-qualified teams, ready to go. We'll see which teams are up against each other. It's the Greyscales and the Crazy Chickens here in the first one. And Long holding the gate, but off they go there. Crazy Chickens seem to get a better start, but no, Greyscales will get to the first handoff first. Greyscales now seem to hold on. Crazy Chickens are probably going to hope for some contact. The Greyscales look to be ahead, and there's no contact whatsoever for the Greyscales. Very clean run for them. They will get the win.
That was too easy for the Greyscales. They kept it tight, but also did not allow themselves any time to make major contact. But by the time they did there, the Chickens made the same mistake. And 11.485 is a very quick time from the Greyscales. Would have been high in the qualifier results, but not quite as high again. As we've seen, 11.2 was the record broken by the Blue Brigade. Now look at this for a rematch. Citrus Sprinters and the Marauders in what was a decisive, almost championship-deciding match in the main league last season. Marauders came out on top by 100th of a second. Can they do it again? But Citrus Sprinters are pulling away. Oh, it's a big leg of contact, and the Marauders pull it back to win the race again. Citrus Sprinters can't get there. They'll go to the third place round with the Crazy Chickens, and well, what a race that was. Let's see where it all went wrong. It was right there. Too much contact for the Citrus Sprinters, and that corner especially was catastrophic, letting the Marauders just cruise into the final with the Greyscales.
That was one of the worst slowdowns I've seen in this event towards the end. The Citrus Sprinters had it all the way from the first leg all the way to the end, but they will lose it and they will go straight back into the blocks for the third place round against the Crazy Chickens. And off they go. The Citrus Sprinters need to get their bearings straight here, but the Crazy Chickens come away with the lead towards the first handoff. Now, Citrus Sprinters seem to be bringing it back a little, but the Crazy Chickens will hold on towards the end there. No real contact for them, and the Crazy Chickens will get third place in this event. But now we turn our sights to the final for the auto-qualified friendly Jubilino pursuit between the Marauders and the Greyscales. Rivalry coming back from Season 1 between those two teams. Both of them desperately want to get the edge over the other here, even if it's just a friendly round.
Of course, one a former champion, one the current defending champion. What a titanic battle this is for a friendly round, and off they go. It would look like a slightly better start for the Greyscales, and it's a much better start sweeping around those opening corners. They have the early lead. Marauders have some work to do, but they pulled it back in the heats. Can they do it again? There's some contact there, and there's no chance at all. The Greyscales, another beautiful run down the Jubilino pursuit course. They will get a second gold medal in the friendly round. It should take them to the top of the table, and it does. They'll take them ahead of the Crazy Chickens by 1 point. They'll lead them by 1 point heading into the final classic, the final event. And then Marauders and Citrus Sprinters will be in third and fourth place. Here they see 11, 10, 7 and 5. Citrus Sprinters, after perhaps a podium hangover, they've been struggling in the friendly round so far, despite 3 points in downhill drag. But well done to the Greyscales, only team with two golds so far, at least in the auto qualified run at least. What can the B League runners do, which we're going to line up for right now? We'll see who's facing who in a minute.
Yeah, and just to go back, it really seems like Marauders and the Greyscales doing the battling for first place in the auto-qualified friendly. But here we go for the B League, the Flash Fires and the Sweet and Sours. And off they go. These teams did do this event last season in the penultimate event of the B League. Flash Fires seem to get the better start, but Sweet and Sours are not too far back. Can the Sours get it back? No, Flash Fires clean throughout towards the end, and they will cruise to victory. The Sweet and Sours really need to rely on the Flash Fires on making contact and making a mistake there. Look at how strung out the Sweet and Sours are. It's not doing them any favors, and they could not catch up. Flash Fires, 11.3. They will get the win here and advance to the final.
Very quick time as well by the Flash Fires is what you want to be seeing. The data you want to be collecting in this friendly round. The Woodsmen, the Silly Slimes next. It's a good start on that bottom lane by the Silly Slimes, but it does close up a little bit into the first handoff. But Woodsmen now, with some work to do, that fourth marble was left way behind in that corner especially. It does leave them to roam free, but it does catch them up. But the Silly Slimes are already so far gone due to that contact. The strategy, I believe, there was to just let the fourth marble run at full speed at the end, but they slowed them down a bit too much to member number 3, and 11.9 is a very slow time for the Woodsmen, who have been very successful so far in the friendly round, but they will go to the third place round against the Sweet and Sours here, while Silly Slimes and Flash Fires will face off in the final for the gold medal. But interesting battles across both the heats. We'll see how the third place round goes.
Okay, Woodsmen and the Sweet and Sours here for the third place round. The Woodsmen had a taste of the lead last time around, and they will get a great start here ahead of the Sweet and Sours. Sweet and Sours need to do a lot of catching up here. Woodsmen are keeping it clean now, learning from their mistakes perhaps, but the Sweet and Sours are closing up a bit, but not quite by enough, and the Woodsmen will hold on to a pretty substantial victory here, especially in the first half of the race. They were well ahead. All 3 of their marbles at this point are ahead of the Sweet and Sours. Now they kind of close up, but it was too far gone. Woodsmen will get the win here, even if it's only by 200 at the end of it. Woodsmen, third place. They're continuing to do pretty well in this relegated friendly round, but now we make way for the final here, the Silly Slimes and the Flash Fires.
for the gold. Of course, Flashfires already have a gold here. Can they get a second one? So these Slimes, they had a good first corner, but the Flashfires swing around and take the lead. But now it's neck and neck through the third sector. I think Silly Slimes, they've let their fourth marble go. Flashfires are ahead, but across the finish line, it's very close. So these Slimes let their fourth marble run rampant at the back. Was it enough? No, it was not. The Flashfires just get there, and they will get a second gold in the friendly round for the B-League teams. What a race that was. At any given different corner in that race almost, a different team was in first place. What does this do for the standings? The Flashfires, again, 11, 10, 7, 5, the same points that we see in the auto-qualified friendly round, but it's the Flashfires ahead of the Woodsmen. The two expansion teams look to be competing for the friendly round win in the B-League. Flashfires, of course, winning the event, and the Woodsmen getting third place in that event. They are 1 point between them as we look to the Funnel Classic. Now, how this is going to work is all 8 teams from both friendly rounds will compete at once, and they will get their points based on where they finish compared to their friendly round competitors. So let's say the Marauders finish in first place, while Flashfires finish in third place. Flashfires and Marauders would both get 5 points if Marauders and let's say the top 2 were auto-qualified, third was B-League. B-League first place would still get 5 points even if they finished the race in third. So there'll be 2 people to get 5, 2 to get 3, 2 to get 2, and 2 to get 1. As simple as that. And it's maybe not as simple as that, but that's how it shall work. You'll see it how it works when the standings come up. Expedition pre-show, of course, as we always do, no matter what. And this will be a full race between the 8 teams that the crowd actually wanted to see the most from the Expedition pre-show. And as you can, it is the Ash Risers, Sky Dragons come through in third place, and it will be the Stargazers to take second place. Ash Risers with the early lead, but you will know how this event works by now.
Yeah, for sure. And if anyone didn't understand Angus's big ramble about how this event works for the friendly round, if you, just think about it this way: if you are rooting for a team in either league, just focus on the teams in that league. It does not matter what the teams in the other league does. So if you're a fan of the Marauders, don't care what the relegated teams do. It's just a matter of what the auto-qualified teams do. Now with that out of the way, we're seeing a nice spread here. We're seeing a nice spread here with the Cherry Blossoms in the funnel by themselves in the top. And the Royal Blues, the Royal Blues getting pushed aside in that green funnel that allows them to stay in that green funnel for a bit longer, and now are joined by a whole bunch of marbles. A lot of strategies at play here. I mentioned that the last event was very strategic, but this one, arguably, despite being such a classic event, it is one of the most strategic of the lot, and the Cherry Blossoms are amassing a great lead here, continuing that lead from the earlier part of this event.
And look at the spread down to the bottom. Breakfast Rito is already just 1 funnel away from the green. They're about to drop in as I speak, while Cherry Blossoms are only just entering the first green. There go the Breakfast Ritos as Autumn Leaves and Ash Rises come through second and third place, but Cherry Blossoms' angle of attack is not very good. They're going to fall through any second, and there they go. They fall on through, and that lead is already evaporated in just 1 green funnel. While Breakfast Ritos fighting with, I believe that's Bone Rattlers down there, swerving around them. Will they make contact? Yes, they will. So the battle for last place is still on as well. Cherry Blossoms come on through. Now they're in a battle with Ash Rises and the Sky Dragons, who look poised to take the lead. Down below, though, looks like Bone Rattlers have just been able to fight off Breakfast Ritos. Yes, they have, but those two will be comfortably bottom 2. Now it's a race for first. It could still be any of these 6 teams with the right impacts, but Stargazers, with a bit of a comeback, take the lead of the race into the green funnel.
But of course, once you reach the green funnels and the whole bunch of other marbles in that green funnel, does not matter how late you join. If you make contact, it is going to be a complete slugfest towards the entry of the green funnel. Now, four marbles circling there. Could be any of them that gets the win here. Oh, 2 of them go completely haywire, and the Sky Dragons do manage to get the win there. If anyone remembers what the Sky Dragons did in the pre-show, in the qualifiers, they fell off the course, so that's some great redemption for them. But of course, this has been some nice pre-show entertainment before we make way for the friendly round, which will feature all 8 teams, as we've said before.
Yeah, I've heard the Greyscales, they are not a fan of 4 marble races in the funnel, so they will invite the B-League competitors to do it with them, and that's what spawned this rather ridiculous lineup for the friendly round. But here you go, you see the top of the auto-qualified on the top lane, the B-League on the bottom, all lined up together. It was just about which ones you beat from your particular friendly round to get you the points, and off they go. All 8 all together. Who's going to come out on top? It is, of course, a slugfest to start, and just about staying out of the hyperbolic middle part. Crazy Chickens will come on through first, and the Marauders come on through as well. But at the top, it looks like Silly Slimes have a good angle of attack, and then the Greyscales will be the final 2 running. So they're currently leading their individual friendly rounds.
I wonder if some of these B-League teams are a bit starstruck competing here with the auto-qualified friendly teams. How often do you see the Sweet and Sours and Woodsmen compete with teams like the Greyscales and the Marauders? But regardless, it is the Silly Slimes and the Woodsmen that are looking pretty good up there, but the Greyscales, they don't want to lose to these teams. They want to get the win here in this final event and clinch the friendly round in their whole season. The Greyscales have a great lead right now, the only ones in the translucent funnels, and they will make their way into the orange right now. The Citrus Sprinters are in second place, and those two look poised to stay in that way, but the Citrus Sprinters will join the Flash Fires in that second to last orange funnel before the first green. Now, Greyscales still have the lead, but it's a whole slew of marbles in the green funnel, and one marble the Woodsmen have dropped on through into the first orange after the first green.
Crazy Chickens and Marauders have followed, and Crazy Chickens have fallen to last place, dubiously. Greyscales, again, comfortably in first place, a full orange funnel ahead. Will they allow the green funnel to clear out, or will they slip in before? And it's not a great angle in the final orange funnel, as Silly Slimes are having a great run here against the auto-qualified teams, but Citrus Sprinters are able to fend them off, and Greyscales do have the... Oh no, somehow Citrus Sprinters fight back and could look poised to take the lead here. Down below, there's one from each friendly. Woodsmen and Crazy Chickens in the bottom green funnel. Marauders jump on it as Citrus Sprinters take the lead of the race. Greyscales in second place, with Flash Fires and Silly Slimes fighting a bit for the B-League spots there at least, and the Greyscales come down to join them, but Citrus Sprinters look poised to win this race, especially for the auto-qualifier. Down below, Chickens are crawling around the green funnel. They're going to fall on through. There's no chance they avoid that. They will finish last in this race, and in the friendly, there's... No! Oh my goodness me! Citrus Sprinters have just completely... Commentators cursed me. They will finish last in the auto-qualified friendly. As Sweet and Sours come on through, Woodsmen come on through. There's now two from each left. Marauders come on through to get second of the auto-qualified and fourth in this race, but who will come out on top out of these final three?
The Greyscales, the only auto-qualified one out of this bunch. They had a great lead early on,
Oh!
but it's all gone away for them, getting ahead of themselves, and a great bit of contact there to get them into third place. Now, Flash Fires and Silly Slimes, who you got for the win here in the friendly round? These two relegated teams putting it all on the table here. Who's gonna get it here? It couldn't be either of them. Is it gonna be the Flash Fires?
Oh!
Yes, it is.
Well done to the Flash Fires. That's 3 golds in the friendly round for the Flash Fires. Same thing with the Greyscales. They'll also be awarded, of course, an auto-qualified gold for getting the best of the auto-qualified teams. But Citrus Sprinters, what went wrong? They were, look at that. The movement there to take the lead of the race is incredible. And then they managed to, this funnel has caused so much trouble in the qualifiers too. That's going to be one, there you see the points on the side. A gold for Flash Fires and Greyscales. They will both win their individual friendly rounds, and they will win with the same number of points, 16 each. There you see, 5-1, 5-5 for both. It is been a great friendly round all around, with again the same points across both the friendlies. That is kind of ridiculous, but well done to the Greyscales and the Flash Fires. Again, look at this, sharing the podium on the top while the others celebrate their results. And now we look forward to, of course, the main show in the A-League and the B-League, where we'll see these teams in their respective leagues. As for when that will be, we're yet to know, but we will see you for that later on, and bye for now.